everyone. Welcome to Megan's Monday Market Update. I've got Matt Stancato here with Guild Mortgage Lending. And today
Hello.
we're going to be talking about something really interesting, which is this acquisition between Rocket Companies or Rocket Mortgage and Redfin, what the anticipation of how this merger is supposed to work, and maybe some drawbacks that haven't been taken into consideration yet. So I'm going to kind of run this off if that's okay, Matt, and get the ball rolling. So for any of you who don't know, there has been this acquisition happening, like I said, between Rocket Mortgage and Redfin. And what this looks like is Rocket Mortgage is being one of those kind of larger umbrella mortgage companies where people go online and they kind of put in their information, they get a pre-approval. So there's this sort of streamlined process that's kind of nice for your individuals or users. And then on the other hand, Redfin has some of the most robust mapping of MLS data currently in the space for their mobile app or their online website. In fact, when I worked in the industry of tech, when we were looking at mapping real estate data, Redfin was our golden standard. We were comparing how we were mapping our data to Redfin, knowing that theirs was just more streamlined, a better process. And the user interface is great. A lot of people who are using that app understand that you can very easily navigate through the app, populate good listings, and get the information they need. What does this look like? The intention behind this would be to create a system or a life cycle within the mortgage cycle and real estate cycle, where you would perhaps start your loan process online, get connected, go through the life cycle of getting connected with an agent, because Redfin has their own agents, through the app, all one place through title and closing, one location. Now, what do we think some of these pitfalls are going to be? Matt, you brought up something really interesting, which is how you guys ingest and look at information when populating a mortgage pre-approval.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you're bringing this up because there's a lot of growth in this space in the mortgage sector as well. Obviously, I mean, Rocket Mortgage is one of the largest mortgage servicers in the country. But other companies like us and your Wells Fargo's, your larger companies, are putting a lot of money into this as well. And this year, we've been told that we are investing, I think it was $2 billion into the AI space. And what was really interesting and what I found to be refreshingly honest that they told us was that no one's really sure how AI is going to be able to integrate itself into individual marketplaces yet. We don't know exactly how AI is going to affect car manufacturing, but it is. We don't know exactly how AI is going to affect the physical production of steel, but it is. And it's the same thing with the mortgage space. We don't quite know yet what it's going to be good at, how fast it's going to progress, how it's best to use it. I know for right now it works fantastic for example, the Guild app, which we just came out with, that has some AI integrated into it, and you can make small changes to your application, and it can connect you with your loan officer, and you can send over any properties that you're looking at directly, which then downloads to our system. So it's a really interesting set of tools. It can't do everything top to bottom for everybody. What it can do is take care of simple tasks. So a W-2 borrower with 20% down and 800 credit, you're comparing programs in a linear fashion. You're saying, what's the lowest rate? Okay, there we go. And they push out an offer. That is an AI doable kind of a job. What is not AI doable would be something like, somebody who's self-employed, for example, or somebody who has multiple investment properties. For that, you're going to need somebody who can not only read a tax return and interpret it in particular ways, look at the edges of the guidelines. Take, for example, the Guild app, which was just released recently. That's got some AI tech that's integrated into it that predicts market movements, tells you when a good time is to float or lock. You can look at your application on the one side of the app while you're contacting your loan officer on the other. You can send them addresses, which can upload directly to our system. All this stuff is great. And what it can do at its peak is take information from a single borrower who's W-2'd with 20% down and great credit and compare rates in a linear fashion and say, well, the lowest rate for your scenario is this. There you go. There's your pre-approval. Now, that's great for a borrower who's very simple. For a more complicated borrower, somebody who's self-employed, has a lot of investment properties or that sort of thing, you're not just looking at a linear rate comparison. You are looking at several different rates in several different programs. And maybe somebody told you, I think VA is best. But given the way the market looks, an experienced LO can tell you, okay, you're getting some advantage to VA, but this combination of products is cheaper for you in this moment. That's something that AI cannot do yet. So anything more complex than an algorithmic task is proving beyond it at this point. So does that mean it won't do it 10 years in the future? Absolutely not. But 10 years in the future, what other opportunities will have been opened in the space? So at this point, it's interesting. It's a little intimidating, kind of like dark cloud on the horizon kind of a thing. But at this point, what it does is well within the wherewithal of something you could automate if you were sufficiently adept with computer programs.
Absolutely. I think at this in this season, like you said, when you're taking those sort of more basic or W-2 common applications and just comparing interest rates, that's great. But the AI doesn't know to take into consideration what your long-term goals are,
Mhm.
what your plan is 2 or 3 or 5 years down the road. Are you looking to do um, investment properties, multiple options? These are conversations you have to have because the experience is a very unique experience to the individual. And AI, I don't think at this time it doesn't have the capabilities to just come in and do all of that for you.
Yeah,
So I absolutely agree that it's not going to take away anyone's jobs here in the future of being a loan officer or a real estate agent. What I do see the positives of this being is the concept of having a life cycle that on the surface appears seamless or
mm,
easy for the consumer. And I do think that we can all hop on board and say, okay, there is a space for tech in those areas to help streamline things, move things along. They will be collecting data on us, saving that data to be able
mm,
to apply and use it going forward. So that's great. When you were talking about a W-2, kind of plugging it into the system, populating a pre-approval for the average. I would even say that the example you provided was an above average borrower.
sure. Most
Um,
people aren't going to fit that mold. Only a very simple borrowing
a simple
class.
borrower,
Yeah.
correct. I immediately think TurboTax because
Mhm.
when TurboTax hit the scene, I can do my taxes myself. This is fantastic. Let's do this. Oh my God, I don't have to pay anybody. Plug and chug. Ah, great. And if you've been on their website and you've actually used TurboTax, if you're a W-2 employee, awesome. If you're not, TurboTax is not my friend. I do like
Mm,
personally because I have other things going on. I'm going to want to talk to somebody. I'm going to have an accountant, somebody I actually can speak with and say, hey, this is how I want to structure my return for the following years to come. It's not just this year, it's planning for the future. This is the same concept. I'm trying to draw parallels here between the two when it comes to working with an agent and a mortgage lender, right? That there are
yep.
just going to be nuances that AI cannot take into account. So, but hearing that Guild Mortgage is also investing into the tech space of AI and
Mhm.
trying to find applications in there, it also tells me that Rocket Mortgage is not the only company who is doing this. They're just the company that's making a lot of noise about it in the moment.
Mhm. Yes, it's it wasn't simply reinvesting in the space. We opened a department, we hired people, we brought in the best minds that we could find to start looking at different ways to apply this technology. There's no doubt it's a game changer, but I don't think it's a game changer in directions that we've seen before. And this captured customer model is something that has been attempted before without the power of AI, without the automation, without all of that. So maybe it'll be much more successful than it ever has been. But I have a sneaking suspicion that the actual applications of AI in the space are going to be something we don't quite predict yet.
Yeah.
Long term, that is.
I do think there's this limitless potential in the AI space.
Mm,
I think, like you said, we are years out from seeing anything that where AI can handle nuances within a mortgage loan process or even a real estate process, right? So, what I did want to hit on as well is that Rocket Mortgage also sells a lot of their mortgages on the secondary. They're very large, but they
yeah.
do sell quite a bit of
Mhm.
their mortgages on the secondary. And for example, Guild does not.
Right. And what that's going to do is, as long as you're a Rocket Mortgage customer, they have every right to steer, not steer, I guess, steering would still be illegal. They have every right to, strongly make it worth your while to go with their own people. But once they've sold that mortgage on the secondary market, unless they plan, like Guild does, to hold and service more of their loans, like more than 90%, and build income streams that way, then they're always going to be at the mercy of the current mortgage holder providing at least one option. So that captured cycle is fantastic if Rocket is going to begin to hold in service more than what they're doing now. So since Guild Mortgage holds and services, more than 90% of our loans, as rates come down, we have the ability to look in our system, see what your current rate and payment is, what your current rate is, and our system tells us automatically. And again, this is an AI feature. This is the best rate you could get today. Here's what the payment would look like. Here's what we expect rates to do in the next couple of days. Just today, I began, contacting some people and saying, I think this is the right day to lock. Turns out it was. There was a slight downturn just a couple of minutes ago, which is why I might seem distracted as I'm watching my ticker in the corner. But that's happening as well. So we were able to predict a couple of times now with that AI help, exactly when the right time was to lock for people, and that's a very powerful tool.
That's fantastic. I love that because that has always been sort of a question mark where people are like, I don't know, should I not? I
Yeah,
feel like it's that moment of deal or no deal. Do I give them the box? Do I hold it? What's in my box? How much money do I have? Is that one? Yeah. Anyway, if you watch Deal or No Deal, you'll
oh no, yeah,
get my
okay.
reference. But having a friendly helper who's nudging you saying, Psst, the odds that that box is the best
Right.
box for you, today's the day. The other thing I wanted to talk about in this tech space is that we've got Redfin that bought out WalkScore in 2014 and then RentPath in 2021. What does this mean? This is talking about consolidating data into one place, making it easier for the user. And this is fantastic. However, tech is growing exponentially. AI is growing exponentially. That while people are on the internet right now talking about Rocket Mortgage, talking about Redfin, talking about these things, to keep in mind that they are not the powerhouses or they are not the only ones in this movement or in this space. They're just the ones making the most noise about it right now. I think that is what I really wanted to hit home, as well as no AI or tech as of right now or in the foreseeable future will ever beat out the knowledge and experience of an agent, a seasoned agent or loan officer who knows your individual needs. When I'm talking with Matt about deals that I'm doing, I am planning for several years down the line. I'm not thinking about right now. I'm not thinking about just purchasing this one property. I'm always planning for how is this going to set me up for the next purchase or the next thing I'm doing. AI will never be able to do that for me in this yet. Well, anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, I appreciate you guys sitting around to have this conversation with us and just enjoy your week.
Talk to you later.